Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use UI labels and UI buttons in Swift using Xcode. So for those of you wondering, since this is the first episode, Xcode is software that you use to develop any iOS or macOS or now tvOS applications. If you want to develop an iPhone game, an iPad game, Apple TV game, Mac game, Xcode is the software that you use and Swift is the programming language. Now, you might be thinking, if you haven't been up to date with this, isn't it Objective-C, C#, and that kind of stuff? But actually no, because Apple updated it with their own language called Swift. So now Swift is what you use to develop this. So all you have to do is go on the App Store and install Xcode. It's 100% free. So all you have to do is install that, and once you've installed it, you open it. So over here you've got this. Let me create a new Xcode project. So over there, new Xcode project. So it's a single view application. It doesn't need to be a game because that's not what this entails. So we click next, and then we can choose product name. Let's just say UI button. You can name it whatever you want. Team none, blah blah blah. Language Swift. You can leave these however they are. What do I need to add? Team. Organization, identify. Example. You need to have an Apple ID if you're going to be doing this, but if you've already got a Mac, an iPhone, or anything like that, you'll have an Apple ID, and you just need to choose that and just choose any name. So once you've clicked next, choose where you want to save it. I choose desktop, and then it's gonna load. So you don't need to worry about all this. So all this is completely irrelevant for now. Now you go to this place called main.storyboard on the left. So it's obviously processing the files for now. So here is the canvas, basically. That's what every iOS app starts off as, no matter how simple or complicated it is. So at the bottom, right at the bottom, it says view as iPhone 8. So that's fine. We can leave it as it is. And you were like, what if I want to make it for an iPad? That's what I'm going to show you how to do. So in the bottom right, let's just search. Let me expand this. So let's search button. So we've got a button and a label. Now I'll explain what these do. So the difference between a button and a label is obviously makes sense. But in terms of this, a button is what you're going to click to make something happen. A label can't be clicked. A label would actually be above here. So we can say click me. So you can either double click or triple click or whatever, or you can come to the right here and click that, and where it says label, you change it and you say click button below, and then you just go in, you zoom in, and you stretch this. And if you want to center it, you can come to the right and click center, and then you can just stretch the bottom below a bit. Let's just give it a background just to make it easier to see. Background, let's just use a green. So here is all the text you can change. You can change the background color, you can change the tint. You can use this green, for example. You can change the text color, which I'm going to do to a white. That actually suits it well. And then this button, I'm going to make it, and I'm just going to leave it as button. Let me just capitalize it, enter, stretch it a bit, drag it to the center. The text color, let's make a background for this actually. Background, let's make it a red background this time. Okay, and the text will be white again. Okay, so now we've got this simple layout that we've got with a button and a label. So these look obviously very similar, but you just find out because as you can see over here, it's got a B, capital L. That signifies what it is if you ever get confused. So this is your view. So we're gonna run this, and as you can see, it says iPhone 8 Plus, but we built it for the 8. So let's run it on the 8 just to show you that it runs properly. So to run on the simulator, you just go there and click the run button. And I'm not expecting any errors considering this is a very new product. So you might need to enter your password if you're on a Mac, sometimes I need to, sometimes I don't. Just enter your account password to make the simulator run. So here, as you can see on the iPhone 8, it's run. We've got it. We've got the label here and we've got a button. As you can see, the text goes as if to show you've clicked it. So I'm going to click it now and you can see the text does that. But here on a label, it doesn't. So obviously it's not going to do anything. Now let's see what happens. I'm going to power off. It's like an actual device on the screen. So you hold the button to power off. It's got volume buttons, home button, whatever. Decide to power off and it goes away. Now let's run this for an iPhone SE, so a smaller device. It might look bigger or smaller because of the device size you set it to, so it can have a different scale, 50%, 100%, the actual size. Doesn't really make a difference, it shows how it would be. So as you can see, instead of being in the center, they're more to the right. And in the iPad, it will be vastly different. So this is what we do. We use something called constraints. So I'm going to power off and show you what to do. So here we've got a label. Now Apple have what they call reset to suggested constraints. So Apple suggests constraints for you. So with reset to suggested constraints, we can try it. So we're going to click it and see what happens. So you can actually view what Apple have done with the constraints. So they've got a trailing area and it highlights safe area dot trailing button is 152 pixels or points or whatever from the trailing end. And it's got from the bottom, and the click button has got from the top to the bottom. It's also got the left one, it's got the top one, and the button, and again another leading edge. And if you go here, it's constrained the height to a specific height, so the height will stay the same on all devices. And here for the button, the height's 50. So we're gonna run this on the SE, the one that was stuck to the left a bit, and see what AutoConstraints does with Xcode. And as you can see, this is what happens. So with Apple's suggested constraints, it's not exactly the best. It's all off basically. It doesn't really look how it's supposed to be. It doesn't really look enticing, and it doesn't really look at all that brilliant. So we can actually modify the constraints that Apple's already given. So we could expand the length of this, for example. Okay, we could even make the font bigger really. For the button, we can make it reach the edge of the device. And obviously you can't get it to look exactly the same on all devices because that's just unrealistic expectations. But you can make it do the next closest thing. So I'm going to run. So as you can see, I've updated the constraints, and on the iPhone SE it looks good. Now just to show you it works on the iPhone 8 too, I'm not gonna cut this footage just in case you think I've done anything crazy. And when it works on the iPhone 8, it will work on the 7 and the 6 because they're the same device screen size. So I'll click the iPhone 8, run it. Okay, I won't cut any of this footage out. I can power down the SE one in the meanwhile. And the iPhone 8 one looks different because the scale's different, so the scale's 50% rather than 100% for the other one. So it still works as the actual device was, it just looks different to work on the screen better. So on the iPhone 8, there, it looks the same as it did on the 5S or the SE. So if you did release an app, obviously you wouldn't release this into the App Store, it would get rejected anyway. You need constraints for all your devices. So iPad, it needs to be done. iPhone needs to be done. iPod, obviously. You don't need to create for the Mac and the tvOS because those are completely different. But you need to have it for all iOS devices. So make sure you do that if you are in the middle of making an app of some kind. So sometimes suggested constraints works. If not, you can change it. So when we had reset suggested constraints, it was all clamped together. So you can expand it just by dragging this here, all that stuff. You can make it wider, you can change the font size, you can move it. And once you've done that, for example here, you go to the bottom, you click here and update constraint constants, update. So you do that. So now it's going to be broken because I just changed it, but that's what you do once you've changed it. And then there will be no yellow arrow here at all. Nothing, no errors, no warnings, nothing like that. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And also go and download my app that's in the description below. Go and visit my website, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And yeah, make sure you leave a like and recommend any other videos you'd want to see next time.